Hello darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again.
So for those of you who missed it, a while back I made a video trying to debunk a claim made by SteveBee 92653, namely that different species have had to breed in order to exchange evolutionary traits. I provided an alternative explanation of my own devising, which doesn't break any rules in genetics. Then I gave a whistle-stop tour of the evolution of plants in support of my hypothesis. I then discovered that no detail of that video was meant to be taken seriously, and so my debunking was misplaced. I withdrew the video and issued an apology, which you can find on my channel. Though I should make it clear at this point that I still stand by the science that I present in that video. However, I also got into a discussion with Steve, and we discussed our differing outlooks on the subject of evolution. Some of the emails got very long indeed, and so what I'd like to present here is what I understand to be Steve's take on the evolution-creation debate, and it's probably not what you think. Firstly, some things about SteveBee which I would like to reiterate. He's not an idiot. He has a real degree and he's not scientifically illiterate. He's not a creationist, he's not a young earthist, a hydroplate theorist, a geocentrist, a flat earther, or a Christian. He's not even a theist, full stop. So where then do we disagree? I think all it really comes down to is that SteveBee refuses to accept that evolution is a blind watchmaker. He largely accepts the chronology of the fossil record as set out by mainstream geology. But as far as he's concerned, the gradual change from one species into another simply isn't depicted in that fossil record. Species appear to remain unchanged for long periods of time, and then all of a sudden jump, and new species seem to come almost out of nowhere. There's also a certain amount of incredulity over the spontaneous formation of complex organs such as eyes, which is perhaps very easy to understand. I mean, just ask Charles Darwin. So what's Steve's answer? Well, intelligent design, but not the kind of intelligent design that the Discovery Institute tries to promote, i.e., the answer isn't God done it. Steve is more persuaded by the idea that there is some kind of unseen, unknown, undetectable intelligence that quietly sits behind the scenes outside this plane of existence and occasionally radically shakes up the design of organisms on the planet. This intelligence is not a conscious one, and it's certainly not aware of the actions of humans, so there's no point praying to it. What I really like about this hypothesis is that it doesn't conflict with mainstream science and its findings, and I can't conceive that it ever would. The door is also left open on the slight possibility of proof. In other words, if many of the plants and animals on Earth were to suddenly change before our eyes, i.e. in the space of, say, a millennium, something that's too quick for evolution and hasn't been guided by man, then perhaps the intelligent external influence answer might be a logical one to conclude. So do I agree with the idea? No. Ultimately, of course, this explanation cannot be completely dismissed. The reason why I reject it is the same reason as I reject intelligent design as a whole. Here's that clip of Michael Shermer again.
You can say a miracle occurs, it's just that it doesn't explain anything, it doesn't offer anything, there's nothing to test. It's the end of the conversation for intelligent design.
So while I'm willing to accept that the intelligent external influence argument may be correct, I don't think it's very helpful to accept it at the moment. It's rather like the old God of the gaps argument, and if you start trying to plug those gaps with something that's untestable, then you potentially stem the advance of human knowledge. I've heard that exact same criticism levelled at the punctuated equilibrium model, and I think in many respects that's fair. The difference is that the onus is now on the scientific community to prove that punctuated equilibrium is a viable possibility. In the case of any intelligent influence, we really aren't equipped to even start investigating it, and so we'll have to wait for any evidence to come to us. So why have I brought this all up? Well, simple. I want to get a discussion going on the subject. I think this is a very interesting argument which needs to be considered, and it's nice to consider a third option other than the usual two that are batted backwards and forwards on YouTube. So leave a comment below on what you have to say. But one more thing before I go. Steve's not exactly infallible. Look out, Steve, I'm coming back for more.